All right, y'all. How's everyone doing tonight? I am going to make like a quick little weekend study for y'all. I'm gonna break this up into two different videos. You guys gave me a handful of different names, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on each one of them. I'm gonna break this up into two of the smaller ones, or one with like the lesser traded names, and then one with all the big names that I was already going to review anyway. So, I mean, here's a name, PAYC. I have never charted this before in my entire life, but obviously the first thing that we see going on here is there's a nice big gap to be filled up above, right? So let's keep it pretty simple here. So I think as long as we don't break too far below 198, if you really want to be safe, I would make it 187. But to me, this looks like a gap is going to get filled up above, right? So you guys can take long here, or if you want to wait for, a retest of this balance area here, if we zoom in on the 30-minute chart, it's kind of trading in balance right now between 200 and 204. If you wait for a retest of 200, you can add there and try to ride it up for about 40 points, okay? And you can use a stop below 187.35, okay? Keep it small, and, I don't know that much about options on this name. So, I would prefer to do shares on this one, just to be honest. And again, just keep it small, right? Let's see. I think the other one was AVAV. Okay. Interesting look here. Again, a name that I haven't really charted before. So we just hit resistance here, and we're obviously rejecting that area. So we're in like the 140 area here. Nice big weekly rejection. Looks like there's a decent amount of support right here in this 105 area. Okay. So there is a little bit of a trend line here. Now, let's zoom into the daily. Have we broken this trend line? Looks like we're trying to break the trend line, okay? This looks more like a short setup to me, just being honest. Unless, of course, 130.89 is reclaimed. And even more specifically, 134. Okay? Because then it's going to enter back into the gap, and it might want to go for the gap fill. Let's see here. So this is one I might actually want to use fibs on. Okay. So there is some fib support down at like 117.50, even in the 111 area. Kind of coincides with some previous pivot levels here too, it seems. So I actually kind of like this one for a short, possibly down to at least maybe the 120 area. Okay. So not the best risk-reward ratio on this. You can definitely take it down. This could trade down as low as 105, possibly. This looks more short to me. I definitely wouldn't want to take a long on this one. You can take shorts, at 126 and try to take it down to 120. I would definitely get out if it reclaims 130.89. Okay. Really not crazy about either one of these setups, but AVAV looks more like a short to me, and PAYC looks a little bit more like a long to me. MDB. I saw there was some kind of bearish news on MDB over the weekend, I think. Something about a data breach. I don't know. I mean, news like that sometimes tends to be like nothing burgers, you know. We are kind of in the top of this resistance zone up here, you know, so I don't know if we're kind of double topping here or not. There is a little bit of resistance or support down below in the 400 area, okay? And we're trading at 420, okay? But there's a little bit more support down in this 380 level. Just a major pivot area from the past. And that also probably coincides with a Fibonacci retracement. And it sure as shit does. Okay. So 380 would be a pretty decent downside target on MDB. I would trim out at the 400 level, and I would use 437 as your stop loss. So kind of lean a little bit more short on MDB on this one, just to be honest. So far I'm thinking bearish on AVAV and MDB. Connor's knocking on the door trying to get in. I know, buddy. I'm recording a video. I'll be out in a little bit. Snow just on an absolute grind up right now. Did just recently break this trend line. Let's try and clean this chart up a little bit. Okay. Very steep uptrend right now. Yeah, I mean, until this trend line breaks, this is not a short. I mean, there is a little bit of a resistance level up here, right? Because we rejected here in the past. But, you know, I think, and here's a previous point of control here and a previous pivot level here. Who knows? This could get to 240. I have no idea. Where does the fib extension take us? $209 and $228. Possible we see 240 at some point next year. Not too bad. I mean, really not a terrible looking chart. It's just, you know, it's just running hot right now. Basically, I mean, you can keep riding this long until, how's the volume profile look? Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad here. As long as this trend line doesn't break, you can keep riding this long, honestly. I think 240 isn't out of the question by its next earnings, which isn't too far away. Again, we can also take one of these fib levels as a target as well. I think 227, very possible. 227 is very possible. Just you don't want to see, at this point, you don't want to see a break below 195. Okay. So, you know, decent risk-reward ratio on the upside if you're using a 5-point stop loss and looking for at least 10 points on the upside. What's the other one? Crowd, CRWD. Just another one that's just on a frickin' melt up. Just like everything else. Let's zoom out here. Let's start with the monthly, actually. So, oh yeah. This thing looks like it just really wants to test those old highs up in the 290 area. So, That's the clear target for sure. And we're clearing this pivot level here. I mean, it's just been ripping ever since then. Little bit of resistance here in the 270 area, but to me this looks like 290 area is definitely going to come. So let's zoom in on the daily. So for this one, I don't want to see a break. For sure, I don't want to see a break below 247. Okay. You know, as long as, and if you're looking for an entry, yeah, so, you know, even a pullback to like 259 to 260 flat, you know, if we gap up, could be a decent entry. You would want to use 247.87 as your line in sand, and then just hold on to probably like a out of the money debit spread on this one is what I would go with. Maybe like 280 by 300, okay? And give yourself like 2 to 3 months on it. Or you can do shares and just try to hold it for 290 and look for 247 as your exit level if it goes against you. Let me just see. So if we enter here, so and if we target this, you know, so we're over a 2R risk reward ratio, and you're looking for about 11.5% upside or 5% downside. So not too bad of a setup. I like crowd long. This is probably, I don't know, crowd and snow, pretty decent setups on the long side. PAYC, decent setup. AVAV and MDB, I'm leaning more short on. So that's the quick and dirty for those ones. And I will move on to Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, Avgo.